All it takes is somebody to holler. Sit down, servants. Sit down. And that's how it happens. Oh, you come from a long way. Sit down. You come from a long way. Sit down. Ah, you come from a long way. Sit down and rest. Come on, you know you owe him a praise. Why don't you give it to him right there? Come on, you owe him a praise.
You know, they call it the old spirituals, not because that's what they wanted to name it. It's because there is a spirit of joy and sadness and all of these things intertwined. I think it allows you to go in, feel that pain, and then use that pain to outwardly rejoice, or to bring that pain to the forefront so you can begin to heal.
This is part of what we're doing. We're trying to connect to as many people around the world to say, hey, we are a museum. We want to talk about faith and spirituality because we know our ancestors, that's how they survived. That's how they got through that tumultuous torture that they had to experience. And it was their singing of songs and their faith in God that things would change and things would turn around.
Of all the creative, expressive arts that African Americans have, music probably, hands down, tells the fullest story of the African American experience. It was something that was being done from the very beginning. When writing and reading was illegal, African Americans could still sing. They could still tell their story about who they are, what they were going through music.
We didn't sing just because it was good lyrics or because it rhymed. We sang because we had a passion of really being free. We were enslaved. So we went through what the song was saying we were going through. It wasn't just to sell records. It wasn't just to make money. That was our story.
Songs that we grew up singing on John James, Wadmalaw, Edisto Island was quite different than what it is now. The music wasn't written, as Darrell Small says, to sell CDs or to make the charts. They just had to come up with lyrics to empower themselves from the inside. To some that may not be familiar with the language, we will slow down and we will give some meaning to what some of the songs mean. Because if you don't know the context in which we are singing some of the songs, they really won't make any sense.
For without the stories, then the music is basically no good. But with the stories, then the music has its own pace. We understand and then why we did what we did years ago by.
And that's what's interesting right now is most of us don't know all of the stories that go behind it. I think there is a fear of what am I going to learn and how is that going to impact my life? But the reality is it'll impact our lives by giving us a better understanding, more understanding, and hopefully more unity to have empathy for other people's struggles.
We also sing another song, so whose side you leaning on? Now, if you have no idea what the context of that song is, why are they leaning? Which side? It's a song that tells a story expressing, asking, whose side will you make a declaration on? Whose side will you stand for? When you're tired of working in the hot field, whose side are you going to lean on? And of course the response is, I'm leaning on the Lord's side. Whose side you leaning on? Leaning on the Lord's side. Whose side? Whose side? Leaning on the Lord's side. Whose side?
It's a form of, I think, also catharsis for the singers. It's a way of connecting them directly to their ancestors and honoring those memories and honoring those sacrifices. So it's greatly appreciated when people outside the community recognize that all of these things are happening when these traditional spirituals are being sung, because they're carrying important stories about a very painful past.
We have to have a dialogue. The dialogue is where the work happens. The dialogue is where the love happens. The dialogue is where joy and peace, all those things come to play. And if we're able to do that, even if we disagree, there is dialogue, because I now know where you stand. But if we can find a common space in that dialogue, whether it's disagreement, whether it's joy, it's love, or whatever it may be, then we get a better understanding of one another. And the dialogue can't just happen one time. And I said, okay, I put work in, because you can't water a plant one time. You have to continue to water, and we have to continue to water each other with the love and understanding that I really want to know how to walk with you.
We've got to be bold and courageous to say the things we're thinking. Instead of having to say it a certain way or do it a certain way or think about it, to really cross the understanding, I think we have to be bold.
We want you to walk away saying, I know what that meant. I know what they were singing about. I know what that felt like because I'm beginning to feel that as I'm singing it. We want those connections to be made.
To hear that song, or those ancestry songs of saying to me that I'm here. And the more I hear it, the stronger I get. And I'm like, they're with me.
They have made it very approachable in the conversation to understand we can all have our experience, and I don't have to let go of my experience to enjoy your experience.
About all the other aspects, the food, the dance, and I think that's great, and we should be proud of all of that. But we don't let the world know how much we took care of one another. And I think in essence, that's what made us really special.
How do we come together as a community of different races, different cultures, different faiths, different traditions? How do we do that? It's not a performance. This is an experience. And so we want people to come in with an open heart, open mind, and ready to have a wonderful experience.